Hi, I'm Dan McGuire. I'm a former middle school math teacher, and I began using Moodle in my classroom 13 years ago. Today, I'll demonstrate how a top-rated math curriculum designed for face-to-face class instruction can be used in remote learning or distance learning or online learning. We do this by taking the Geogebra app that digitally renders the illustrative mathematics lessons and practice problems and combine them with Moodle. Now here's a short video that Geogebra made when they announced the release of their illustrative mathematics apps back in the first week of August.
Hey everybody, I'm Tim, and joining me here are some awesome Geogebra community members. In particular, I'd like to introduce to you Monique Zhao. Monique has recently led the Geogebra team on a very special project that we are excited to officially release to you today. Monique, tell us more about it, please.
Absolutely. GeoGebra has taken the entire illustrative math middle school curriculum and made it 100% digitally accessible for teachers and students who are starting remote learning in the fall.
Wow, did Geogebra make any changes to the IM 6 to 8 curriculum?
No, the IM 6 to 8 middle school curriculum is a great curriculum already, so we haven't changed it. Instead, we made all the components of every lesson digitally accessible.
Well, could you explain to us what you mean by digitally accessible, please?
Yeah. Teachers can now actively engage their students with the conceptual reasoning and productive struggle already inherent in the IM curriculum. And teachers can use GeoGebra Classroom to formatively assess and monitor all of their students' progress in real time. No screen sharing required.
Really?
Yeah, you can check out my screen. We're working on an activity where students are trying to build the largest cube from 32 unit cubes. And Tim,
Yep.
I can tell you haven't even started yet.
Ooh, I better not slack off then. I promise I'll get to work. Just one more question. I see the curriculum on GeoGebra's homepage, yet I only see Unit 1s for all grades. What about Units 2, 3, and beyond?
We'll release the later units based upon IIM's pacing guide, so teachers have it ahead of time. We're ahead of schedule at the moment and plan to remain that way.
That is awesome. Monique, thank you so much. And math teachers everywhere, we hope this helps you take the stress off of the mandated remote learning that many of you have to face. And we wish you and your students the absolute best of health, first and foremost. And we also wish you and your students continued academic success this year.
Okay, good. Now, let me just summarize some of the points from the video. First, GeoGebra has taken a curriculum that was designed to be delivered in an in-person classroom and made it entirely accessible digitally. Teachers can see in real time what students are working on in their um, conferencing classrooms. We'll take a look at this in more detail in a few minutes, but I want to mention one thing here that in his opening keynote, Martin's response to my question about what do we need to do to generate more use of OER in the US was he said, to ensure that the material is high quality. So what we have combined is one of the top-rated math curricula with an award-winning app that's used all over the world, GeoGebra, with the learning management system that's the best in the world, Moodle. Now, usually I show a short video here that's an introduction to Moodle. I'm not going to do that today because I'm reasonably certain that everybody here has a good idea of what Moodle is. I will, however, summarize some of the main points from the video that are pertinent to this integration of GeoGebra and illustrative mathematics and Moodle. First, the Moodle course makes it easier to access the GeoGebra apps. Second, Moodle is available in many languages, so we can use this all over the world. Moodle makes it easy for students to keep track of their progress. Moodle provides more ways for students and teachers to communicate and for students to communicate with each other. And there are multiple types of assessments available in Moodle. And then, of course, Moodle and Geogebra can both be used with mobile devices, which increases their utility for many students. Now, before we take a look at the course, let's consider one of the big problems teachers face when transitioning to online learning. Mike Walker, a digital learning specialist who's been a collaborator of mine for many years, observed this past spring one of the same things I had been noticing. Mike said, when they first go online, teachers are trying to figure out the best way to replicate in an online environment the walking around the classroom, giving quick formative feedback and asking questions like they do in a face-to-face classroom. They miss the spontaneity of the classroom, and students are missing the ability to communicate easily with their classmates. So the GeoGebra app allows teachers to virtually look over the shoulder of their students as they're working illustrative mathematics problems in their video conferencing classroom. Then Moodle adds asynchronous communication between students and teachers and between students. And then Moodle adds several ways to assess student learning, among other things. In the course, you'll see that we've only used assignments and forums. Now, the reason we're using just assignments and forums is because we want to minimize the number of Moodle tools that teachers and students need to learn as they get started online. After everybody's comfortable with assignments and forums, it'll be a lot easier to add some of the other tools in Moodle. Now, using just a forum, you can virtually walk around your classroom. You'll be able to make more assignments that are easy to turn in and easy for you to comment on and grade. You'll still be able to use all the other apps and sites that you want, but we recommend using a forum as the place for students to record and share with you and their classmates what they did on those other sites. Use your LMS to help you keep track of everything. Remember, it's a learning management system. And very importantly, a forum will provide a way for you to ask each of your students how they're doing. Being connected in this time is really important. So let's take a look at the course, one of the courses. This is the basic setup for each unit in all 3 middle school grades. Now, there are 9 units in each grade, so we'll be creating 27 courses. So far, we've got the first 4 units in each grade done. GeoGebra currently has 6 units completed in each grade. Now, they've really done some phenomenal work. They released the first units in the first week of August, just as we were beginning to move all of the content from illustrative mathematics into Moodle. So their release saved us from doing a whole lot of work. So let's look at the components of each course. First, we have some suggestions for teachers on the README page. Then we have an attributions page. And then over here we have teacher materials for the unit. I'll show you what those look like. There's extensive materials for each lesson in the unit. Okay, so here's the lesson narrative for the first unit in grade 6. As I scroll down, you can see that there are learning goals stated. The alignment to the Common Core standards is provided. And then there's glossary entries for the key terms in the unit, as well as many other resources. Now, there's also a link for the parent materials. Here's what the parent materials look like. Now, this is the the parent material for the first unit in grade 6. Now there's a page like this for every lesson in every unit in all 3 grades. The parent materials describe in a language that's easy for parents to understand what their child will be learning in each part of the lesson. Now, this is useful if you've ever had a child studying math concepts that you may not have studied in a few years. I remember those days, even as a math teacher. So we have 3 forums to begin with. Now, when you first start using Moodle with middle school students, we recommend deleting the announcements forum that appears by default in every Moodle course. That announcement forum can be confusing to new users because it doesn't permit students to ask questions or initiate a conversation. So then we delete that, and then we create a regular forum and name it announcements. That allows students to respond to the announcements and ask for clarification, and also allows students to initiate a discussion in that forum. Now, if a student initiates a conversation that should be in the Talk to Your Classmates forum, we can do that. So after the announcements forum, in every unit we have 2 other forums. The Talk to Your Teacher forum is a place for students to talk to just their teacher, and then we have another forum, the Talk to Your Classmates forum. The Talk to Your Teacher forum is an example of a forum where every student is assigned to their own group. So that keeps all of the posts in that forum private between the student and the teacher. The Talk to Your Classmates forum is the place where students can share with the whole class. Let students use this as a social place to talk about non-school things. They need this ability. Let them add their videos, their media, their songs, whatever they want there, as you monitor it, of course. You can even set students up in groups if you want, but it's better to create those groups only after you and the students are confident using the tool, and when you have a better feel for the classroom dynamics. Now, moving on to the more formal academic work. You'll see there's a lesson in this unit. I'll scroll here. There's, I think, 19 lessons in this. I'm not going to show you all of them. They're all basically set up the same way. First, we start off with a link to the apps for that lesson and the practice problems for that lesson. Then there's an assignment and a forum for both the lesson activities and for the practice activities. We keep the type of activities that we use in the course to just 2 types, the assignment and the forum, and we think it's important for the benefit of both teachers and students to not try to use too many different kinds of tools at first. And you can really do quite a lot of different learning activities using just the forum and an assignment. As I said earlier, if you use other apps besides Moodle and Geogebra, we recommend creating an assignment or forum activity as a place for students to report what they did and what they learned. So use Moodle as a place to keep track of each student's learning. We think of it this way. The assignment is used for the teacher to collect individual student work and grade it if desired. The forum provides an easy way for students to comment on each other's work collaboratively, and for teachers to assess those group collaborations and how individual students are communicating with their peers. The illustrative mathematics curriculum was designed so that students learn by exploring the conceptual reasoning and explanation of math concepts together in community. Now, the Moodle course is what enables that to happen in an online environment. Now, students will likely need practice giving feedback to each other. And we encourage teachers to include specific directions about what students should say and how they should say it in their feedback to other students. And the rubrics and marking guides that are available in both the assignment and forums can be used for grading student posts and replies in the forum. So this enables the teacher to emphasize different skills and competencies as the school year progresses. This is where the art of teaching comes into play. Now, I started using Moodle discussions with my students when I was teaching in a face-to-face classroom. I've taught in both 3rd and 4th grade and in 6th grade. In each of those, I taught social studies, science, language arts, and math. And there's certainly a lot more useful features now than when I started 13 years ago. Thank you, Moodle HQ. Students really took off commenting on each other's work when they had the chance to share their work with each other and comment on it. It's like having a mini science fair for every class every day. Now, of course, you'll want to encourage students to use images, videos, audio, drawings, or pictures. Enabling student expression is what's going to connect them to each other and the class. And that's what's missing in too many distance learning programs. Now, to summarize the points, a forum enables you to provide student self-efficacy, a sense of belonging, and a greater perceived value of the curriculum. Now, these are 3 elements that are necessary for any course, really, but they're especially important for middle school students in an online environment. Now, when you give students opportunities to express themselves and ample opportunities to talk to each other about their work, you're nurturing each of these 3 points. Now, of course, a strong and frequent teacher presence and communications with each student is really crucial. This is what will make the curriculum a lot more valuable and enjoyable for students. It's certainly much better than a website that they just click around on and then look at each other in little boxes on the screen. I'll mention it again. If you send a student to another website or another app, create a forum. Give them a place to tell you and their peers what they did on that other app. Give them a place to connect to you and their classmates. Teaching and learning is essentially all about sharing. The Geogebra apps used within a Moodle course are all about what makes it easier to share. Now, if you'd like to log into a course using Moodle and Geogebra, you can find links with usernames and a password in the discussion for this presentation. And of course, I'll send you course files or give you access if you want them. Just send me a note. And then they will all be available on MoodleNet in the very near future. So thank you for collaborating in our important work. Here's my contact information. And now I think we still have time for a few questions.